What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Blue River Bowhunting Podcast, episode 143. Hope you're having a good week. If you're getting to hunt, I hate you right now because I'm having deer withdrawals. I wish it was that time of the year, being back in the stand, but it ain't. But looking forward to turkey. Looking forward to get back into things. Shout out some sponsors real quick before we get started. Local 18, Heat and Frost Insulators out of Indianapolis. If you're looking to get into a building trades career, look up insulators.org. B&B Custom Calls out of West Virginia. Check out my buddy Michael Hawk. Make some badass turkey calls if you're looking for some new stuff that's going into the spring. But let's get into the episode. My buddy Erik from Southeastern Bowhunter Podcast. What's going on, dude?
What's up, brother?
It's been a while. It's been a while since I was on your show, but you've never been on this one.
I haven't.
I know it's well overdue.
Yeah. You know, it's we're popping the podcast cherry with this one. From here on, it's just God knows where it's gonna go. No, yeah, I'm really happy to be on this, man. I've felt terrible because we have been talking about this for like 3 months, and every single time, it's like, yeah, dude, you know, I'd love to hop on. And then a couple days go by, and I'm like, well, actually, I got this, or you know, like
or I had something.
Yeah, like my sister had her baby, so I was at the hospital till 2 a.m. And you know, we did it at the right time because with this ice storm coming through, I don't know if I'm even going to be able to do an episode next week. Like, if we don't have power, what am I going to do? You know, so. Right. I felt like a bad friend, so I apologize.
You're fine. I think it's cool going on other people's shows because, you know, obviously you're the one that's usually hosting a show, so it feels a little easier. And then, honestly, you get to talk more. You know,
yeah.
I try to, you know, cater to my guests as much as possible, give them topics that they can talk on for at length. And it's funny, like going on your show, it's like, oh, I actually get to talk now. You know, It's the other way around. It's kind of weird at the same time.
It is very weird. Because I think this is let me think. I did the Georgia Archery podcast like 2 years ago. I went on one podcast that it still hasn't dropped back in September. So, yeah, they were very new to it. Really good guys. It's just, you know, I don't know. I guess podcasting is not for everybody. Let's just say that. I went on one other one. I don't remember. Oh God, if they listen to this, they're gonna be so mad. I don't remember who it was. Oh, it was the Blue Hen Outdoors guy. I went on there, and there might have been a couple others, but yeah, it's fun, dude. It's just hard because, you know, being married and having kids, like, you know what it's like.
Sure.
Having to do your own podcast and then pick another day to do a different one, and it's not even yours. Like, I think it was maybe an hour ago. You know, I made dinner for my wife and my daughter, and I gave them food. I was like, hey, by the way, it's 7 or it's almost 7. I'm gonna have to go down and get ready soon. And my wife looks at me. She's like, for what? I'm like, the podcast I was supposed to do this past weekend that we rescheduled to tonight. I was like, I told you about it this morning. I told you about it. Yeah, I told you every single day. And I guess she forgot. So now I feel bad, and I'm like, well, I can't cancel again. So
right.
It is what it is. I was like, I'll make it up to you when I get back. It's fine. Yeah, dude, that I would say has been the hardest part, is just finding the balance, you know?
Oh, for sure.
Now the deer season's over, there's plenty more time, but still.
I find that's the hardest time for me to balance my time, because my priority isn't sitting behind this camera and this microphone. It's being in a stand somewhere. You know what I mean? So it's really hard. And then early bow season, I try to schedule it, but like, I don't even really get home until super late in the evening. And then trying to get somebody to do an hour-long podcast already at 9 o'clock, you know, it's like,
tough.
Yeah, it is tough.
Well, and the thing is, during season, it's almost impossible to get anybody on.
Oh, for sure.
I mean, like, I'll give you an example. Like Michael Waddell, I was reaching out to him in October, and I knew better, right? I know November for them is very busy. So I'm like, hey, dude, I really want to get you back on. Let's shoot for December, right? And he was like, yeah, dude, you know, no problem. Send over some dates. Picked out a date, and he was like, yeah, let me check my schedule. And look, it's Waddy. He's super busy, right? I don't hold it against him, but it didn't happen. So a couple weeks go by. I think it was end of December, and I hit him up. I was like, hey, this day, does this work for you? And he was like, yeah, man, can you do it at 9 a.m.? And it's on a Tuesday. I was like, Waddy, I love you, but I gotta work, man. Like, I can't do it. I can't do that. So I was like, what about that afternoon? And same thing, dude's just, because he was in Missouri, I think. Is it in Missouri or Mississippi? I don't remember. He was somewhere out there a few days beforehand, so he's busy. And then I can't do it at the same time. So, I mean, yeah, dude, scheduling stuff is hard. People don't, at first I was like, oh, it's easy. It's super easy. You just hit someone up and talk to them. But the longer I've done this, the more I've realized, like, you really do have to work around people's schedules. And sometimes it doesn't work. So it's fun, though. I enjoy it. I wouldn't do it if I didn't.
Oh, for sure. What inspired you to start a podcast? Like, I know you're probably in the same ballpark as me. Like, I talk about hunting a lot, constantly. So it's like, why not have somebody on and, dish it out and let's hear everybody's stories,
Yeah, dude. For those who don't know, I've only been hunting. I started hunting in 2019. I'd always been into it, just never, I didn't grow up in a hunting family. My uncle up in Illinois hunted. He'd go to Wisconsin a couple weekends a season. And, he never took me because I guess the way that he described it to me once I grew up was you wouldn't have wanted to go anyway because we hunted, but we also drank a lot. And like, it wasn't an environment for kids. So,
right.
Yeah, he was kind of protecting me, which I thank him for it. But so, yeah, I just never, I'd watch hunting shows, and I grew up watching Realtree and Bone Collector. And one of my favorite ones was Bucks of Tecumate, which I still look up on YouTube to this day. I just never did it. So once I got into it, I wanted to learn everything that I could. So I started looking up hunting podcasts, and I found Working Class and loved that show. I mean, I'm, buddies with Kurt now, like, they're good dudes. And so I was listening to that, and I remember when Kurt went full time, I was like, wait a minute. If he's doing a 9-to-5 and can do this podcast and then go full time and that's his job, well, why can't I do that? I'm doing the same thing, So that was kind of the birth of the idea. And then getting so obsessed with hunting that my wife, she claimed she wasn't about to divorce me, but it was pretty close. Like, every second it was like, well, what do you think if I do this? And she doesn't care. She doesn't hate hunting, but she's not interested in it. So I had to think about it one day on the way home from work. I'm like, all right, if I'm going to do this, because it's driving Jessica crazy, I need to do this, because then it'll get it out. And then I don't go to her for questions because she doesn't know hunting like that. I mean, she's very good with common sense, but if I throw, the wind direction on this day is an east wind, but then it shifts the next day to a west. If I sit in this sand, like, if I do all this stuff, I'm naming everything to her, and she's looking at me like I'm speaking Mandarin. So, you do that enough, it gets frustrating. So that was basically it. That was the push that I needed to, I guess, start the podcast. And I mean, if those listening want to hear it, you can go to the very first episode and then listen to the newest episode, and you will see a major difference. It was so bad, dude. Like, I think the first episode, I was like, hi guys, my name's Erik. I'm out of Georgia. I bow hunt. I haven't done it for a long time, but I saw this one deer one time on public land, and it was just the worst story. But I mean, practice, patience, all that stuff, dude. And I honestly have to thank God above everything else for even letting it go as long as it has, so all glory to him, really.
Well, I know that you're big with your faith, and it translates to your show as well. You always talk some kind of scripture before starting an episode, and kind of lessons learned that week or during a hunt, or something like that. Does that help? Does that push you even more to have the faith stuff going?
Yeah, I mean, it's funny that we're even talking. I didn't think we were going to really talk about this early, but this past season, it was a huge test to my faith. Because if you remember, I had 8 or 9 bucks on one property that were consistently showing up every day, and I mean, dude, I got a little prideful. I'm not going to lie. I went into the season thinking, okay, first sit, gonna kill a buck. I think the first sit, and I should have known this is what was it was a precursor to how the season was gonna go, but I got blown out by a doe that was 60 yards away and didn't see anything except that. And then throughout the season, it was just the cat and mouse game, man. So yeah, my faith definitely helped because I could have gotten down on it. I could have given up. I mean, I could have just been like, well, these deer aren't showing up, so I'm not going to go. But the thing that kept me going was like God's plan for all of us, not just me, not just you, but for all of us is so much bigger than what we know and what we can even comprehend, that like, why wouldn't I go out there? Because I just don't know. I mean, one of my favorite things, I just told my daughter this last night. One of my favorite pieces of scripture was when Jesus was talking about if the Father takes care of the sparrows, if he feeds them, keeps them safe, all this stuff, if he's willing to do that for them, what more is he willing to do for us? And I don't ever preach that prosperity gospel stuff, but I like to live my life knowing like whatever happens, God's got it. Like it's going to go one of two ways. It's either going to go really well and I can thank him for it, or it's going to go really bad and I'm going to learn from it and I can thank him for it. So why not at least go? So yeah, dude, I literally grinded it out all season. And I mean, even when it was 75 degrees, the wind was bad, and I only had one more hunt to do, I still went and was fully just expecting something to show up, and nothing did. So it was humbling, but and it goes the same thing with the podcast. I didn't start the podcast to sort of, I guess, try to bring people to Christ. But
I think it definitely helps.
Oh, 100%. Yeah, dude. I hope this doesn't sound, prideful or anything, but I've had people reach out to me and they're like, dude,
I figured,
thank you for doing this. So I'll keep doing it. I mean, I don't know if that's, if it's what I'm supposed to be doing, if it's the calling that was given to me or whatever, but it's being well received. So I say, just keep going,
Oh, absolutely. For sure. How did you come up with the name, Southeastern Boner? How did you start that brand, or how did it come about?
Dude, a lot of thinking. I had some of the worst names picked out. I mean, everybody.
Let's hear one. You got one?
Dude, I'm trying to remember what it was, honestly. There was one that was like, so I'm from Chicago, right? I was born in Chicago and then raised here in Georgia. So I started thinking, and I was like, okay. And I went through all the hunting podcasts I could find, and I didn't want something that sounded like everybody else. So I Working Class, obviously, Nine Finger Chronicles, and those ones stick out. Well, I saw the East Meets West podcast, and I was like, okay, what if I do, and this is the name I came up with before I shortened it, Midwestern Southeastern Bowhunter Podcast. And I sat there and I'm like, no, that's not going to work. So then I was like, well, where have I spent my, pretty much my entire life? In Georgia. Where's Georgia? It's in the Southeast, Southeastern Bowhunter. So it took a minute, but, and we went through a bunch of different like logos and stuff. I remember going on Google and ripping I don't know if it was an antler drawing or just antlers, right? Mm-hmm. And putting it in, I don't even think I was using a photo editing. I think it was my phone. How on our phones you can put text on the photos. I went on that, kind of changed the filter and everything, and then just wrote out Southeastern Bowhunter and used that for like 6 months. So yeah, dude, it's been a journey. It really has been a crazy, crazy journey doing the podcast. So some embarrassing stuff,
I don't think you can appreciate it as much unless you were in this space. Like people say it's such a saturated thing, or everybody and their brothers got a podcast and blah, blah, blah. Yes, probably so, maybe a little bit. But when you start listening to people and hearing their stories and stuff like that, like I went back today and I was like, I'm going to listen to like one, go way back in his, catalog and listen to one. And I was just scrolling through and looking for names, and who you had on. I stopped at the Waddy one. I was like, I'm going to listen to this. And I was like, that's a very big profile to have on your podcast. Yeah. So I wanted to listen. I think you did a great job, man. It wasn't like I was like, I got to turn this off or something, Conversation was great. I could go back to some of I know for a fact there's some really terrible ones way back in there, but people don't get that appreciation unless you're in this space of how hard you truly work and the the person that you become behind the mic, how you transform your voice, the way you approach conversations, the way you bounce stuff back and forth between knowing when to talk and when not to talk. You know what I mean? Like it's for sure.
It's very hard to learn. Because I'll talk for hours, dude. I mean, I really, really will. What's funny is like there's one episode I did. I don't even remember which number, but it was one of the very first ones. And like, so back then, and a lot of this has changed now, but back then there's still this app. It's called Spotify for Creators, right?
Yeah, I know what you're talking
That's
about.
how I started it. And back before they partnered up with Riverside, which is what I use now, they had an actual thing in that app that you could record. You can add people into the recording. You can edit it. You can add in music. You can do all this stuff. The problem is it was so bad that whenever you got somebody on that record, like on there to record with you, dude, there was an episode that me and this dude named JD did, and we sound like mice. I mean, literally, like there was times where I'm talking normal, he's talking normal. Next thing you know, it speeds up. So you don't know what we said and you can't edit that out. So
wow.
It was a nightmare. I mean, things still happen. Like the most recent episode, and I don't know when this is going to drop. So episode 166 on Spotify, it's fixed. On Sportsman's Empire, it's fixed. On Apple, it is still messed up because I wasn't paying attention. There's a lot going on this past weekend. And when I sent the file over to Dan at the Sportsman's Empire to distribute it, I didn't realize I took a file from an episode I did 2 weeks ago. So the intro is right, and then you get the intro music. But then the full body episode is my buddy Andy, and that's not even who I recorded with. And so Dan fixed it, but for whatever reason, Apple's not updating. So even now, on the 4th year I've been doing this, that sort of thing still happens. So
yeah,
dude, it's rough.
I've had whole episodes trashed before. I can't remember. It's been probably a year plus. I did an episode with somebody, went to put it out, and like I don't know what happened. Like there was some kind of error in the format or whatever it is, and it was just like a screeching alien noise for like an hour. And I was like, I messaged the person like, hey, I'm sorry, but we're either going to have to do that again or, something. There's always stuff like that. It happens. And, we sweep it under the rug. Most people would be like,
you edit the crap out of it and you do the best that you can. I mean, the other thing about podcasts, and like, if anyone's listening, wanting to do one, we touched a little bit on like getting guests and stuff. But what I realized, surprisingly, early on, it was very easy to get, like big names on there, which I never really thought would happen. Like T-Bone's a perfect example. He was episode 10. And that was only maybe 9 to 10 weeks into the podcast. And so like, I remember, I mean, dude, some of these guys, I've probably blown their DMs up like crazy. Cause I'm like, hey, I run this podcast, blah, blah, blah. I'd love to have you on. No response. Waited a week or two, hit him back again. And I did that to T-Bone probably for a month straight. And then he posted something on his story that was like, ask me anything. And so I just went in there. I was like, how do I get you on my podcast? Because I knew he would see it. And he responded right away. And I was like, oh my God. And then, like we were saying before, some people are easy, some people aren't. So it is crazy though, that like some of the bigger names you think you can't get in contact with, like Spook Span, great example. I never thought that would actually work. And it did.
There's a whole funny story behind that one.
Oh God, what happened?
No, between me and you getting that person on.
Oh yeah. I thought there was something else I didn't know about.
No, I just thought it was kind of funny.
Yeah, well, and the thing is too, you get to learn like these people are still just people, like people will look at Spook and they'll see what he, his past and stuff and how he looks, how he acts, and I think Spook is a great person. I think he's one of the most stand-up people I've probably ever talked to. But people are judgmental, and then you get them on. Like I had him on, and I'm wondering, what are we going to talk about? Is he going to be kind of arrogant, or is he going to be cool? And he was cool as crap. But then you have people you think are going to be cool, and they're just a complete,
Oh man, so
it's a dumpster fire.
For sure. How many times have you had somebody that came to you that wanted to be on, and maybe you finally broke down, or you thought it was a great idea right off the bat. The second you hit record, it's like they forget how to talk.
Oh, dude.
I've had phone conversations with people, and you're like, this is going to be an incredible episode. Like, I can't wait to rip through. And then I almost have to tell them sometimes, hey, let's stop talking about this. We're going to be talking the same exact thing when I hit record. Let's save the conversation for then, please.
Yeah.
And then once you hit record, it's like,
oh yeah,
you know, like they don't even know how to respond. You're like, Jesus Christ, come on.
I'm not going to drop any names just in case they hear this. I've had, let me think, three episodes in 4 years that I almost didn't put them out because it was just so full of BS, or they didn't talk, or you knew the person was lying. Like, there were so many different things that I heard that I'm fact checking in the episode, and I'm like calling them out, like, well, actually here it says this, and they're like, well, no, that's not true, and I'm just like, okay.
I have a name drop, and I'll drop it because I don't care. There used to be a guy on TikTok. It was like, oh man, the Hunt Critic. You know what I'm talking? Remember that guy? He was always like live on there. Dude ran up to hundreds of thousands of followers, blah, blah, blah. I kind of did the same thing you did with T-Bone. Just he was in a live or something. I was like, hey, how can I get you on? Got him on. In the first 3 minutes of talking to this guy, I realized he had absolutely no clue what he was talking about. Like, and I was like, how am I going to get through an hour of this? I almost did. I ended up putting it out, but the dude threw the F-bomb out probably 35 to 40 times in one episode. And I was like, oh man, these people are not going to like this. I don't know if I can put this out. Yeah. I almost put it out just to show people how embarrassing he was to himself.
Dude, so I had something, and it's kind of similar to the point of the F-bomb every other sentence. But I really, really do love this dude. Like, he's a great dude. I guess I just wasn't expecting it, but I had Greg Poole on recently, and Greg is a great guy, full of knowledge, really good dude. But I felt kind of bad because, you know, in every episode, I do the intro, who we're having on, I do the partners, and then I'll talk about Christ for a minute. So I do all of that before I record, which I probably need to stop doing. But anyway, I do all of that, and then Greg hops on, and within the first 5 minutes, he's talking about stuff, you know, some archery content so bad and it's effing ridiculous, or it's effing terrible. And then he talks about how in the industry, that in some companies will use girls who like to show their buttholes and show everything off. And
I did hear him say,
yeah, and I was like, like,
I think you posted a clip of it. I was like, wow, this guy went off the deep end.
I did that on purpose because I knew that it would catch eyes. But and the thing is, like, I don't judge him for it, right? Like, I throw an F-bomb out every once in a while. I do it more when I'm not recording, just because if kids listen to this, I don't want them to hear that, you know. But if you heard me while I'm talking to my buddies in the car, oh, dude, I'm talking just like Greg was, you know. I'm still working on myself here, but and even then, there's nothing wrong with it. It's just it's a way that somebody talks, you know. But I did feel a little weird when I was like at the end of the intro, I'm like, look, and if you guys don't know Christ, please give them a shot. And then 5 minutes later, you hear Greg being like, yeah, so the archery industry, it's effing ridiculous, man. The stuff they're making. And I'm like, oh, if only I knew how to bleep this stuff out. But it would have taken me 5 days, because that's just the whole thing. But it's like the working class bow hunter mentality. That's raw. Like, that's how people are. So why would I censor that?
That's kind of what I was thinking when I put that guy's episode out. I just wanted to show the real him, and you see it a lot with myself. There's sometimes where we get talking about something, and I get agitated, or it may be one of them topics that I'm not moving on the subject, and I may throw an F-bomb out, or something like that, and it kind of can show the real you and transparency in your human nature,
I'll tell you who knows the best is the people that have come to the archery shoot that I do every year. Again, call me a hypocrite, call me what you want. I'm not perfect, but I will preach about Jesus at the shoot. And as we go on the shoot, dude, I'm with the boys now. Like I'm letting it all out. I'm making crude jokes. I'm trying to get better at that. But I mean, it gets pretty bad. Like I'm glad nobody filmed last year's because I was on a tear. So I don't know, man. It's one of those deals that I
what about like managing like negative feedback? Have you ever gotten any kind of negative feedback and you had to really kind of dig deep and just keep rolling?
Yeah. Surprisingly not as much as I expected. The only negative feedback I've ever gotten was when I did the Rumpola buck episodes. I've had two, well, actually, so all right, a couple of years ago, I was heavy on the Rumpola buck. Like I wanted to know what it was, if it was real, if it was fake. So I had this guy who runs the Rumpola buck Instagram, reached out to him. He came on the podcast. The audio was absolutely terrible, but it was early on. So hopefully people can understand what we're saying. But anyway, yeah, he came on and we speculated and we were kind of on the fence. So that one got a little pushback. And then it was like a year or two later, I forget his name. Some dude out of Michigan that I forget what it was. But anyway, he comes on there and he is trashing the deer, like the whole thing. And at that time, I had learned more stuff and talked to my taxidermist and talked to, quite a few people that knew Mitch back then. And I was convinced it's fake. I'm still convinced it's fake. But I said that in the episode. And if you go on there, it's probably the highest viewed episode with the most comments of everybody being like, well, I knew back in that day that, Mitch was a killer and he was a stand-up guy and he didn't want any of the press or any of that. That's why he went reclusive. Boone and Crockett is Satan, like all this stuff, dude. And they're coming at me being like, there's just these, are a couple of yahoos that don't know anything and just, talking out of their butt. And I'm like, y'all don't even know, man. Like the amount of time I've spent on this deer and the people I've talked to, like it would be a 5-hour episode if I could go through everything. And everything I've seen has led me to believe it's fake. So you have your opinion. I have mine. I still hear from people like James, the scrape doctor. He claims it's real. He claims that he saw the rack, looked at the underside of the skull plate, and nothing looked wrong. So I don't know. But that's the only thing I would say I've had like real negative feedback. I had one guy who I'm not going to name drop come on, and I knew going into it what it was going to be, but I did it because I guess I'm a people pleaser. And he came on, we did an episode, it was a good episode, whatever. There was someone that commented being like, yeah, I know a lot of people that have been screwed over by this dude. And he's like, my experience, I haven't bought anything from him, but I've heard rumors. And I just was like, well, I'd love to hear what you've heard, because a little behind the scenes, he was trying to work with the podcast. And I don't want to work with anyone that's, doing some shady stuff. So it never turned into anything, but yeah, really, there's not that much negative feedback, surprisingly. I know it's going to happen, but
I think it's probably because more, podcast wise, you can on like Spotify leave comments on episodes and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But there's not as much, I guess, listener feedback unless they leave like a rate and review type of thing on Apple or something. Like, you get what I'm saying. But on YouTube, they comment. I get comments all the time. Nothing crazy, but I did have one recently. I should have it pulled up so I could tell you verbatim what it said. But you know how it is. These people go on YouTube, they search somebody's name, they watch everything that has to do with that person. They may be very passionate about that person and their content. But I did a podcast episode with Dave Owens last spring, and it gets, people watch even in the fall. It just that his name pops up, they see it, they watch it, whatever. And I had one like last week or the week before. It was like, this is one of the worst interviews I've ever listened to. You had one of the greatest turkey hunters ever on your show, and you ask a bunch of bullshit questions or something like that. I was like, wow, okay. Tell me what you really think. You know what I mean? It's like, well, for one, it's what did you have him on your show, buddy? Like, what's going on here? Like, sometimes when you get somebody like that on your show, and I don't think it was a bad conversation, but that's the only negative comment I've ever heard about that episode. Yeah. You can't just throw normal BS at them for an hour. They don't want to hear it. They've already been on a million different podcasts. I tried to be Brett in that conversation, like asking him how he got started in turkey calling and all that. And just like, I was just trying to have a personal conversation with him. It's not like I was like, well, what do you do in this situation? I didn't go through that kind of stuff with him. I mean, I may a little bit here and there, but like, good Lord, people. If you think you can do it better, you do it. Let's hear you get on here and do it.
Dude, I'm trying to find my favorite comment that I should have taken this. I might have actually taken a screenshot, but I'm looking back at all of this stuff, and like some of the ones on this Ron Polo book are just so freaking funny. There was one guy that was like, because I do remember saying in the episode, I was like, I'm just sick of this deer. No one ever knows. I'm sick of not knowing. And the comment was, sick of it, but here you are. And I wanted to respond and be like, look, just because I'm sick of it doesn't mean that I'm sick of it. You know what I'm saying? Like, right. I want to know. But there was one, there was one, this guy, I responded the only way I knew how. And he said something, wish I could find it, man. He said something like to challenge my faith. And I've tried to do, and I don't mean to make this whole thing about that, but I mean, you know how important it is to me. What's so funny is he commented something, and the only thing I could think to say, aside from going like, full crusader mode, was Christ is king, buddy, praying for you. And that's all I could say. But what he said was so funny. I swear I still have the screenshot, but like, I like it. I like the negative stuff because it most of it, I know what it is. It's just people that are keyboard warriors,
For sure.
And like, I would feel like something's off if all I was getting was great stuff, great this, great that, doing a good job. I don't want my head to blow up like that. I want people to be on there saying stuff like, oh, well, you said this, but then I noticed this. And it's like, okay, well, I'll take that and I'll go back and listen to it and see where I messed up. And if I messed up, it won't happen again. But I thought about doing like another Ron Polo episode just to piss people off. But I mean, there's really no gain in that. Like, we're never going to know the truth about it. So it really doesn't matter at this point.
Well, be glad you don't like video your hunts and put them on YouTube, because that gets way more negative feedback by people that think they know everything, which is kind of funny sometimes. I think it was my West Virginia turkey video from last year. Somebody must have looked up maybe bow hunting turkeys or something. That particular trip, I was not bow hunting turkeys. I had a gun.
Yeah.
And smoked a bird at 15 yards or whatever it was. And it was like, so much for bow hunting, huh? I'm like, dude, what the hell?
The one time.
Yeah.
One time. Yeah, no, it's funny, man. I mean, I used to get upset, like back when I was way younger. I was probably like 16, 17. I skateboarded for 10 to 12 years. I always forget how long, but a good time, right? And we used to film everything. So we would put videos together and put them on YouTube. And the amount of negative comments we'd get, I'd be up till 3 a.m. just like, yeah, well, you know what? Your mom's a fat whatever, right? And now I look at it and I'm just like, dude, are you really that sad in your life that you have to go and like talk crap on somebody you don't even know? I mean, if they, if someone, like, again, the Ron Polo bug thing, I was reading some of these and it's just people arguing its authenticity. That's fine. I grew up with that deer. I wish that thing was real. I want it to be real. But when all the evidence says it's not, let go of that, that little myth or whatever, that fantasy you've got, and look at the facts. And you'll be able to at least move on from it, and half these people can't do that. I was in the Ron Polo bug fan page on Facebook. You want to talk about people that are delusional? Holy crap.
Facebook.
Oh my God, dude, it was horrible. Like, I left. I was like, I can't do this anymore. Everyone is just, pardon my French, but everyone's dick riding Mitch so hard that I'm just like, you guys probably don't even hunt. You don't even know anything about this deer. You're just saying he was the best in the world. Where'd he go? Why didn't you get it extra? Like, I need to stop because I'm about to go down a rabbit hole I don't want to do. This is some trauma I need to work through, I guess, but.
I'll close out the podcast section of this. I'll leave you with lead with this, or whatever. Tell us what's in the pipeline for the show, what you got coming up, all that good stuff.
Okay, so We just recently partnered up with the Sportsman's Empire. So now the show's on Spotify under the Sportsman's Empire and Southeastern Bowhunter. It's the same on Apple. We're on their website. So that's big. I mean, that's very big.
For sure.
YouTube's still a thing. There's a few changes coming to the partner lineup. I've had a couple conversations in the past 2 to 3 weeks. There's going to be new faces, people I've been with for a while that may end up not being there anymore. It's got nothing to do with them. It's just things I'm changing that, I need to utilize something else. Yeah, dude, as far as the podcast goes, I mean, I just did an episode with Scott Bakken from Dialed. I've got a new partner coming on the podcast, Catalyst Archery. He has a laser company, so he's going to come on in a few weeks. Maybe Dan Infalt, I'm working on that. Cody DeQuisto, working on that. I don't know, man. Just kind of seeing where it goes. I still have a lot to sort of plan as far as like this year's bow shoot. I have to get with DNR every time. Now it's kind of a thing that changed, that they sort of need to be involved in what's going on. Really the most exciting thing I'm looking forward to is getting my new bow and also going to TAC. That I cannot wait for Tennessee TAC. That's going to be solid. So yeah, I mean, we're going to start doing in-person guests. That's a major change. My loving wife got me a bunch of podcast gear for Christmas.
Nice.
Except the cords that I need to hook up the mics like you have. So I'm currently using this old, outdated, little desk mic.
Hey, that doesn't work.
Yeah, it works, but it's just, I don't know. We're just slowly upgrading stuff to bring a better experience. Like I kind of want to do like what the hunter guys do, or working class. I want to have the setup where people can be here, and then I want to film it from a different camera where it's good quality. It just takes money. That's the biggest thing. It just takes money.
For sure.
We're saving up for Disney this year, so I don't have any money.
And you're not going to after going there either.
Yeah, exactly. Like I'm going out of state this November, then I'm going to Colorado next year. Like there's a lot going on. So yeah, I guess
let's dive into the hunting aspect of it. When you go out of state this year, where are you going?
Okay, so I'm going to the very northern tip of Wisconsin.
Nice.
Basically Canada. Yeah, we're going, me and my buddy Thor, my buddy Josh, my buddy Paul, and then potentially, I talked to Scott about it a couple nights ago. Scott's from Wisconsin, and I was like, dude, we have a cabin up there. If you want to come, it's 100 acres, private land, hasn't been hunted in God knows how long. By all means, if you can swing it, let's go. So Scott might be coming. I don't know. I've never been up there, so I don't know what to expect. Scott told me to look out for wolves and bears. So yeah, a lot different than down here in Georgia, but he did say it's very thick and it's hills like we have here. So I don't think the terrain's going to be much different. I did just find out that Wisconsin is an earn-a-buck state. So I can't just go up there and shoot a buck. I got to kill a doe first.
Wonder when that started.
And this is just what I was told. I haven't actually looked online yet. I did find out how much the tag costs, and surprisingly, it's not that expensive. But
no, I don't know if they still have it. When I went to Wisconsin in 2020, they had a first-time buyer deal or whatever. If it was your first time buying a license in Wisconsin for a non-resident, it was $67.
Oh, wow.
When I went, and I didn't have to earn a doe or earn a buck or anything. I just straight had a buck and a doe tag. Obviously, I didn't go to shoot a doe, but I ended up shooting a buck, and everything was legal. I didn't have to earn anything.
Well, I guess I just need to dive into it and look, because, I'm trying to expand is really what it is. Like Georgia deer are a pain, and I don't like them. Like I have a vendetta against them this year. Because this past season was rough, dude. I mean, I killed a buck. He's back there on the wall behind me, but it's my first spike, So, I mean, it had been 3 years since I've killed a buck. So I was like, dude, and again, in the stand praying, looked up, was like, hey, anything you send, I don't care. I'm going to kill it. Like I'm done doing this whole chasing one specific deer. I want to kill a big buck, but I'm not only going to try and do that, And so, yeah, I got the opportunity to go to Wisconsin. That's going to happen thanks to my stepdad. And then in 27, I'm going to Colorado on a mule deer hunt for probably a week and a half.
Nice.
So I'm really looking forward to that. Like this thing right here, I need to
That's
stop.
what I was getting ready to say. I got one.
Yeah. I need to stop. Which is easier said than done. But yeah, man, like I said, there's going to be major changes. Definitely looking more at my health now. You know, I want to lose some weight, get in better shape, get my cardio back up, and just get better, really get better in archery. That's a big thing I'm focusing on this year is that, and being able to, you know, if there's a 60-yard shot, I don't want to second guess that. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So yeah, no, Wisconsin this year, Colorado next year, and then God knows what's going to happen after that. I mean, I am not going to be super picky when I go to Wisconsin. Colorado is going to be different.
I don't know if you can see it back there or not, but that deer that's got my Robin Hood practice arrow, that's my Wisconsin buck. It's kind of hard to see, but
the one on the far right or the one second to the right?
The one where I moved the mic, that one right there.
That one? Yeah. See, I would shoot that deer.
Right? I did. I was like,
yeah, I mean,
most people wouldn't get a 113-inch deer mounted, but at the time it was my first like out-of-state trip kind of thing. I did it all by myself and got it on film, everything. And I was like, you know what? I think I'm gonna put this thing on the wall, just like my buddy from Georgia, Alex DeBoard. He always says, "Mount the memory." So that's exactly what I did. I mounted that memory late October. Shoot a deer with 6 inches of snow on the ground. Dude, I don't know when you're going, but there was 6 inches of snow on the ground in October when I went. Well,
I'm planning on going the first week in November, so hopefully
it's gonna be cold, but
yeah, I know. Thank God for Osseo, or I would die. that's for sure. Yeah, no, I mean, 113-inch deer, man. I mean, my biggest buck's 102, you know, and like I've really adopted that whole thing of if I see, because you know, the past couple of years, I've obviously been hunting only Georgia, right? Well, 2023 and 2024, I spent all season hunting one deer. Both years he either was very consistent and I saw him, I just didn't get a shot. And then he disappeared for a little bit. At least he was around, but he wasn't there when I was there. And then middle of season, he dropped one side and I actually have the shed behind me. So obviously, you know, let him walk. I never saw him again, but I wasn't going to shoot him even if I did. So fast forward to the summertime of 24, I had this deer completely nailed down. Like I would go feed, and this is on 1 acre, so it's not easy, right? But I thought it would be easy because I had this deer every single time I would go feed. I would watch him come down the freaking main road and come into the power line while I'm standing there feeding. And I get my truck and I leave, and he goes right to it. So I'm like, it's a done deal, you know, early season, done, no problem. And then he breaks his main beam midway through the summer. So I, you know, wrestled with that. Like, am I going to hunt him? Am I not? Decided to hunt him. Saw him the day after we had that hurricane come through, or actually the day that the hurricane left. I was in the tree and he showed up. It's a whole long story. I get a little bummed out when I talk about it, but
I bet
it didn't work out. And then he just disappeared completely. So after all of that, dude, this year was like, man, I don't want to stick to one specific deer. You know, I let so many deer walk those years that I don't really care anymore. I don't care if it's a giant. I don't care if it's 105-inch buck. Like, we get 2 buck tags. And until that changes, if I see a deer I want to shoot, I'm going to shoot it. Once I kill one, then I'll focus a little bit more on a mature buck. But
it just, I know the way you are anyways. It's refreshing to listen to your show or know you as a person and know that you're not worried about inches or that kind of thing. You're in it for the experience, everything that comes along with it. And I think that's great. I think more people should follow what you and a lot of others do that don't really get praise for it.
Yeah. I mean, look at, I try to model the way I look at hunting like Fred Bear did. You know, you're there for the experience. The inches don't matter. I mean, Look, dude, that spike behind me that I shot this past year, I got just as excited for him as I did for him. That's 3 years apart. I was shaking. Like, I almost fell out of the tree stand because I was shaking so hard. And I got to watch
awesome.
the deer. Like, dude, it was bad. But I got to watch the deer fall. I like literally saw him 30 yards away, and I thought I made a bad shot. It was actually a perfect shot. I just couldn't, the adrenaline and all that stuff, and second guess things. And I watched him, and I saw him tip over, kick a little bit, and he was done. And like that moment kind of brought me back to reality, where it's like, if I don't care if I kill a spike or if I kill a 350-inch deer. At the end of the day, nobody cares. No one cares what you kill. We had a guy kill a 211-inch deer in Georgia this year. I've seen him on one podcast. He was paraded around for a couple of months. He sounds like a great dude. But I promise you, in 6 months, no one's going to be talking about it because it just doesn't matter. So I don't know. I don't like the pissing contest that we as hunters have kind of turned this into, and I talk about this all the time, but it says in the Bible, a house divided cannot stand, right? Well, if hunters are divided against each other because we all want to have the biggest racks, what do you think is going to happen? We're going to do stupid stuff. Look at CJ Alexander. He's a perfect example. He saw a giant deer, wanted to kill it because of money. And now that makes us all look bad. So yeah, it's a soft or a touchy subject for me, because it's like we're ruining the one thing that we love to do,
For sure.
Hell, I'll become the spike killer. I at this point really don't care. Like, spikes are cool to me.
Spikezilla.
Yeah, dude. I just like it. I want to be able to enjoy it and not be stressed out for 5 months out of the year. So
for sure. So are you bow only? Are you only a bow hunter, or do you gun hunt too?
Nope. I've actually passed up 2 hunts that I could have gone on a really, really good property. Mind you, I didn't have like permission to actually take one of the big mature bucks there, but there was one just really funky, non-typical that they just wanted taken out of the herd. And it was actually Daryl, the guy that just did the podcast with last week. He invited me, and I was like, can I bring my bow? He's like, nah, man, it's gun only. Because it was during, I want to say like October. And I told him flat out, I was like, it's been probably 4 years since I've shot my 308. I don't really want to do that. Like, I have nothing against gun hunting, but I look at it like this. If I'm going to go out there, the odds are already stacked against me. But when you're in, and this is just my own opinion, right? But from my experience, killing them with a gun is so much easier than killing them with a bow, right? Now, mind you, I've only killed 1 deer with a gun. I've killed 6, 7, 8, maybe 9 deer with a bow. And it's just more, I get more satisfaction out of it because I'm giving them an even higher chance of living. So if I can pull that off, the challenge is worth it. I mean, it's just more, I don't know, to me, it's more fun,
What's, thinking about you going up to Wisconsin, you never really been out of state. You've only hunted deer in Georgia. What do you think is going to be the biggest challenge for you going from almost the southernmost part of the United States to the northernmost part of the United States?
The cold is one of them. No, I'm joking. I'll be fine with that. I don't really know. I would probably say figuring out in a very short amount of time where these deer are at, like where they're actually at, not going off of, oh, there's a scrape there, so I'll sit over that. I'm not even going to be able to see the property till I get there. So I'll probably spend the first day scouting. I'll have everything with me in case I find like super hot sign, but I just got to rely on the woodsmanship that I've learned. If I see like public land's a good example out here, there's a couple of spots that you can kind of go in there and you can see where these deer are coming from. Now, you don't know when they're going to be there, but you can see the heavily used trail. You can see the funnel. Like, you can sort of pinpoint their travel routes. I'm going to use everything that I've learned from doing the podcast and being out there, that if I see a terrain feature that I'm like, okay, that looks like something someone told me to use, I'll use it. And if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. I'm probably not going to go up there with super high expectations. Just because I've never been there before, and I say all of that and I rely on cell cameras heavily. I got nothing up there. So it's not going to be like down here where
that's old school hunting, bud.
Exactly. It's not going to be like here where I get 200 pictures of one specific deer and I'm like, okay, the wind that day was this way, the pressure was this, the sun was at this angle at the time that he was, like, all that, critical thinking stuff. I'm just going to go in there and be like, oh, there's a rub. Well, let's go look at it. Are the fibers on there? Do I see any hair? Does it look new? Does it smell like a deer? Or is it just a twig or something that a deer rubbed his head on one time and he's never coming back? It's going to be a learning curve for sure. I mean, I don't expect to kill anything. I'm going for the experience, but I also did look up the county record and it's in the mid 220s. So maybe.
Are you getting to be able to e-scout it before going up there?
Roughly, yeah, kind of. So the problem is my stepdad set all this up. Like I said earlier, it's 100 acres of private land. No one's hunted it in like 15 years. So what I understand about the area is there's a ton of public land around there that people hit hard. I'm hoping that one specific property or the surrounding properties act as like a sanctuary for these deer. So once I get the actual, this is where it's at, put in the GPS, this is where I'm going. Yeah, I'll be e-scouting it for sure.
For sure.
It's just when I'm told it's 30 miles south of Superior and it's in this specific county, well, I can't look at the entire county and figure that out. So
if you know the last name of the people that own it, you can.
That is true.
On X, you could type their last name in and kind of ballpark it maybe.
True. I should have done that. I knew I could do that too. I didn't even think about it.
You learn something new every day.
That's why I do the podcast.
Exactly.
That's exactly why. No, yeah. I mean, what's funny is, so I haven't e-scouted that spot, but I have e-scouted the Colorado spot. And it's really funny to me how much more effort I'm putting into that. And I think it's probably because, I mean, I've told you this before. If God came down right now and said, I'm going to give you a choice. You can either hunt whitetails only the rest of your life and you're going to have success, or you can only hunt mule deer every single year. What would you choose? I'd take mules.
I'm taking whitetails.
See, and that, I understand why. It's just when I look at a whitetail, and it's probably because I grew up seeing them, like, again, Illinois, I grew up seeing giants. Me and my dad would go watch deer in the field every night. So I got a little used to that. But mule deer, I've only seen like 6 mule deer in my life, 2 of which were in the 170 plus area. So like, I love me some muleys, man. Like there's
cool. I definitely want to maybe one of these days get the opportunity to go after one. It would be a blast. They're huge in my opinion, rack wise. I mean, a 130 mule deer. Think about the comparison to a 130 whitetail. 130 whitetail, you're like, oh yeah, that's a nice deer. 130 muley, you're like, yeah, maybe should have waited. I don't know. I'd still shoot it, but still.
Oh yeah. Well, and I've always compared the two, where it's like, if you see a 150 whitetail, it's a nice buck. It's a really nice buck. If you see a 150 muley, you think he's probably in the 190s. Just the way that their antlers are configured and like how they look, it is. There's just something about them, like the mystery of them and the what's the allure. If I'm gonna fancy. I just love them, dude. I mean, the background on my computer is 2 giant over 200 muleys. Like it's just something I've always wanted to do, and I'm finally going to be able to. I'm kind of nervous that if I go, whether I'm successful or not, I'm kind of nervous it's going to probably become a every year kind of thing for me, because it's like, I've got ADD. I sit in a tree stand and I'm low key a little fidgety. And so when I think about it, like spot and stalk, you're constantly moving. So I don't need to, I'm not like, I got to sit here. And if he comes from over there, to slowly grab my bow and then slowly draw back. But I'm shooting 73 pounds. It's been 2 weeks since I've shot the bow. I don't know if I can do it. It's 25 degrees outside with a 30-mile-an-hour wind. I don't know if I'm going to do this, right? You go hunt muleys, you're moving, you're warm, and like, yeah, it's a far shot. But if you practice, What are you worried about? You know? So
I think that's why a lot of people like turkey hunting over deer hunting, because deer hunting, you're sitting there. Turkey hunting, most people are on the move, you know?
Yeah. I swear, I feel like God is using y'all to get me to go after some birds, man. Because
I need to take you on a proper turkey hunt. I'm serious. One of these days, we're gonna fix that, because honestly, and it's, I don't know, man. If somebody, I've probably said this on the podcast 50 times, but if somebody asked me deer hunting or turkey hunting, you can only pick one. I don't know what I would pick, honestly. Turkeys have that big of a hold on me, man.
Yeah. What's really funny, I've made this joke since I started hunting, is I think how can I say this without sounding arrogant? I'm not going to say I have a gift for finding turkeys. I think turkeys have a gift for finding me, because every single time I've gone on public land to scout, I run across turkeys, because I do a lot of like, winter scouting, spring scouting, summer, fall, and then it's deer season, right? And I'll scout as I hunt. But in the springtime, man, I mean, I've told plenty of people, you draw a quota hunt tag for this specific public land, take me with you. I'll get you on birds. I know where they're at. And I've ran across them a million times. So
maybe you need to put in for that quota hunt. I'll come with you and film it, and I'll call for you.
I've thought about it, because I can't say too much, but G5 is coming out with something this year that is going to really excite a lot of people. And I may have to put it to use. I'll just say that. I'll tell you more about it after this.
Now you got my ears perked up.
Oh, dude, it's sick. It's really sick. I got all the details like a week or two ago. But yeah, dude, I mean, the turkey thing, I think the biggest problem is I don't like turkey. Like, I don't like how they taste. Call me a communist. I don't know, but
wild turkey is a lot different than farm raised turkey.
It's gamier, isn't it?
No, it's honestly like more juicier. Like, it's
really?
I don't know how to explain it. In my opinion, it doesn't taste like a turkey that you would have on like Thanksgiving or whatever, store bought. I'm telling you, fry up some turkey nuggets and a cast iron on the stove or on a fire or something. I'll change your life with some turkey. But
well, see, now I haven't even eaten dinner yet. I might have to go and get a turkey. Yeah, I don't know, man. Deer have always been like the thing for me. You know, it's one of those things. I was 3 years old in my Spider-Man underwear playing Deer Hunter on dial-up. Like that's where it was, you know. So
that's awesome.
I don't know. Deer hunting is. I'm probably gonna end up doing it till. I mean, hell, I might die in a deer stand. Like, that really could happen.
I'm gonna make a bold prediction for you, and you're probably gonna think that I'm crazy because you're so, I think, laser focused on the mule deer hunt. I think Wisconsin's gonna change you a lot. Wisconsin is incredible. I have hunted damn near every state in the Midwest, besides Kansas and Iowa, that I'm going to check off the next two years. Wisconsin may be one of the funnest, coolest, I mean, just unreal topography. Yeah. It was probably one of my favorite places I've ever deer hunted.
You know, it
was just an incredible place.
The one thing I have against Wisconsin that I understand why it is this way, but I will always have a problem with them until they change it, is it's illegal to hunt those albino deer.
Really? I didn't know that.
Yes. And my stepdad, when he was up there scouting for me, which, call me spoiled, whatever, but he was up there, he sent me a photo of this all white buck on a hill. And I was like, dude, if I see one of those,
that's going to be hard.
It'd be so hard to let it go. I mean, obviously I wouldn't shoot it, you know, like, I don't break the law, but it's that's my only thing against Wisconsin. It doesn't make sense why, you know, they're protected. Like, you shoot one, you go to jail. I mean, it's a felony to shoot those deer. Don't know why. Apparently there's some government conspiracy around them. I don't understand it. They may not even be deer. They could be wendigos for all I know. But if that's the case, we need to kill them.
But, yeah, I honestly, I'm making that prediction for you. You're gonna come back from that place, be like, this Georgia deer hunting sucks compared to this. You know what I mean?
I'll say that now. I'll say that now. I don't usually subscribe to the thing where, you know how people are, they're like, oh man, if you can kill a deer in my state, you can kill a deer anywhere.
Yeah, that's fine.
I'm very convinced that Georgia deer are probably top 3 of the hardest subspecies to hunt, only because they're so dang skittish, dude. Like that doe. Let me give you more detail on that doe that busted me opening day. The wind was good. That's the only reason I even went there. And yet, now mind you, my setup, I was only 12 foot off the ground, but I had a bunch of cover around. Like, there was no reason she should have seen me. And I checked the wind. There's no reason she should have smelled me. But somehow she knew that I was there. And I watched her walk in, hit a spot that I had never even walked through, immediately turn, look my direction. And next thing I know, I see that foot stomping and I hear, shoo, shoo, and I just am like, can I make that shot? I was like,
arc it over.
I'm sighted to 80, but there's branches. It's not worth it. But yeah, dude, Georgia deer are tough, man. And, you know, deer are tough everywhere. Deer hunting's not easy, but I'm hopeful.
No, keep going. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
No, you're good. I was just going to say, I'm hopeful that the struggles I've had in Georgia with these psychic deer or omniscient deer, whatever they are, I hope that like Wisconsin goes better, you know? And if it doesn't, then it doesn't. I mean, it's the trip that I'm going for. It's not the clout. It's not a world record. I mean, I just want to go. I just want to do it for the experience. But you're probably right. I mean, I do hate Georgia deer, so it won't be hard to change my mind.
You said Georgia's probably top 3. If, in your opinion, what state would you think would be the hardest to chase a whitetail with let's just say with your bow?
I mean, honestly, that's hard to really guess because I've only hunted Georgia. I've heard Tennessee is a little rough, that they're pretty on point. Honestly, some of the southern states, South Carolina, Alabama.
That's what I was going to say. I was going to say South Carolina.
I don't know what it is about southern deer, but like the people I've talked to, the majority of the people that have been on the podcast are from the Midwest. So like they're telling me all this stuff and they're like, oh yeah, you know, that we're over this ag field and then we're in the timber and they come out of the timber or they're bedded in the corn and then they come in I'm like, we don't have that here. I was like, we have ridges, creek bottoms, some ag, but they hardly go to it. And everybody and their mama is baiting. So it's completely different. And yeah, all the surrounding states are somewhat similar. I know Tennessee you can't bait, but
they will be coming this year, I think, right? I think they passed a thing in Tennessee, if I'm not mistaken, where not on public, but on private, a private landowner can buy a tag or a permit to bait, like $50 or something like that.
I don't know about
pretty wild.
That. Yeah, I don't know about that. I do know that Tennessee allows baiting up until 2 weeks or 10 days before the season comes out, and it's all got to be gone. So, I mean, I'd be fine if Georgia did that. No one's going to listen to it. It's a culture down here. Like, it truly, truly is part of it. If you are not, and T-Bone said it best, if you ain't baiting, you're waiting. Like, it's bad. I've tried it without baiting, and it's impossible. You don't see anything. So,
wow.
It's unfortunate, but I mean, at the same time, it's not because, like, you know, again, this winter storm we got coming through, I know these deer are going to struggle. So what am I going to do next week? I'm going to put some food out. I'm going to try to help them. You know, things are going to be frozen over. So that part of it's nice, but it also, it can go 2 ways. Either you have these deer pretty much not tamed, but they get used to you being in there. And then like when you go hunt, it's really not that bad until they realize what you're doing. Then it's rough. If anything, it becomes much harder. Or you go into a spot, you start putting food out, and these deer just don't tolerate it. They won't daylight. They only come in at night. I mean, it can make it harder. So, especially the mature bucks. The mature bucks, I mean, I have kind of changed how I've done this now because, like, I used to think, oh, if I pour corn out, dude, old Lucky over there, the 10-year-old, you know, whatever he is, he'll come in. It's the opposite, man. He'll skirt that stuff and he will come in at night, but he won't do it in daylight. And so I've kind of changed it up now where this past season, I was setting cameras up on travel routes that they were using. I was trying to flank them a little bit. And I mean, this coming year, I'm not even going to bait over there. I'm going to put a nice little food plot in, and maybe if it doesn't work out, put some stuff on the very back end of it. But the food plot's going to be my saving grace, especially late season. So I'm just tired of it, man. My bank account hates it. Like, I don't like it. It's expensive as crap. So, but it's the name of the game, dude. It's unnecessary evil, or I guess a necessary evil.
Right. So. I would think that baiting, like you said, he's only coming in there at night. I would think that it's almost like him getting used to you coming in there as frequently as you are to put the bait out. He knows that you're not in there at night. You know what I mean? So it's almost like flipped him to, it's not even that he's nocturnal. It's just he knows that you're not going to be in that position come after dark. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Say
Go ahead.
Maybe if you don't bait, maybe just knowing how they use the property, maybe that will put you in a better situation.
Yeah, and I've definitely thought about that. Problem is, a lot of my spots are pretty small. I mean, my biggest one is 7 acres. So you cut in the neighbor baits and the other neighbor baits, and then the guy across the street does it. Like it's the only way I could capitalize on that would be to make the place a sanctuary where there is no human pressure. Right. But it's really hard to do that once deer season comes in because I'm hunting, you know. So
right. For sure.
What I experienced this past season, and why I say it was, I mean, I don't want to say it was my worst season, but it's definitely up there. And even though I killed it, I learned a lot about what human pressure, even the slightest bit of it, will do. And especially when you have a massive acorn crop and it's warm, good luck. You're not going to see anything. I mean, I went on a quota hunt on public where you can't even bait here. And I was set up over food, but there were so many acorns everywhere. These deer didn't have to move. And it was also almost 80 degrees. So like, I think normally on those hunts, you'll hear, I don't know, 15, 20 shots in the morning. I heard 5. And that was over a 3-day period. So I think only 9 deer got killed in the entire hunt. There's 200 guys out there.
Wow. Yeah.
So I know now where these deer were probably at, but at the time I had no idea. So it's like the deer here are finicky and they catch on quick. If you let yourself, and I know a lot of people have said this, but if you let yourself get patterned, you're already a step behind. Now, if you can let yourself get patterned in a spot that you're not even going to hunt, but you can figure out, you know, where these deer are traveling to it, then you can capitalize on that, but you need a property big enough. So again, dude, I say it's a completely different animal down here, but I don't know because I haven't hunted anywhere else. So hopefully Wisconsin pays off. I mean, I really, really don't want to, I don't know. I don't want to mess it up and like go up there thinking that I've got, you know, bulletproof setup. And then I see like a 300-inch deer and it just, you know, gone. Obviously it's an exaggeration, you know, but
right.
I don't know. Georgia's tough. That's really the brunt of it. Georgia is definitely tough because these deer are psychic. That's what I've concluded. They know when deer season ends. They know when I'm going before I do. Yeah.
Well, I won't dive into a bunch of topics because over the summer period, you prepping for this hunt and stuff like that, you doing your food plot and stuff like that. I want to get you back on and multiple times and continue to have good conversation about deer hunting. But I want to leave you with this: pitch your podcast to my audience. Why would somebody want to go listen to the Southeastern Bowhunter Podcast?
I've been asking that question for 4 years. Just kidding. No. All right. If you guys want to listen to someone ramble about hunting that is still learning, it's the podcast for you. I mean, I heard someone tell me one time that listened to it, that came on, that they liked it because they could see where I started to where I'm at now. And you can sort of tell like how the growth has happened, not in the podcast, but in like myself as a hunter. But if I was going to pitch it to someone, I would honestly say, like, if you just want genuine, good conversations with people, some big names, some people you've never heard about. That's the place to go. I mean, I try to shoot everybody straight as much as I can on there. If I mess up, I'll tell someone. I mean, I probably have told the story of that one buck a million times, and I'm honest about it. The deer that I had right there at 15 yards, and he showed up twice in the same sit, and I never got a shot on him because I was getting down. And then I get back up, and then I get down again, and he comes out both times. My bow's on the ground. I mean, it happens, But yeah, dude, I mean, it's as genuine as I can make it. And if people like it, great. If they don't, I'll read the comment and laugh and then just keep going. So, yeah, dude, I don't know. I mean, if it's like I said, I try to be as genuine as I can, try to bring people to Christ. I mean, that's kind of the whole point. Like, hunting's cool, but really without Jesus, we've got nothing. That's what I've learned. And, some people might call me a Jesus freak. They might, say, oh, well, why do I have to believe it? Dude, I'm telling you, to anybody listening, if you haven't given it a shot yet, he'll change your life, man. I've had people reach out to me that have been on the podcast that were not believers and didn't have their faith in him. And then a year later, they'll text me and they'll say, yeah, dude, me and my wife, we gave our life to Christ, and it's our whole world changed. Like, I'll give you an example, right? One of my good buddies, I don't know if you'd want me to name drop him, but you know who he is, was going through a lot of stuff a year ago, right? And he called me up, and it was a lot of archery drama. And I mean, he was very distraught by it. And I kept telling him, like, look, don't worry about what the world is doing to you, because what I'm seeing is you've got this thing you're doing, and God is closing the door to this stuff that would pull you down, and he's going to open one that is going to just completely lift you up, right? I was like, I don't know if you know him, but if you don't know him, maybe give him a shot. This dude and I talked last week, and he's now going to church every week. Him and his wife have been baptized. His company is blowing up. And even with all of that, he, because there's stresses that come with, like, the company and all that other stuff. Dude is at so much peace right now, and just is so thankful, complete 180 from what he was a year ago. And that's the kind of impact that you'll see. So if anything, that's the pitch. If you want to hear about someone that'll change your life, come listen to the podcast, because it ain't me, but it's him. So that's the best way I can end that.
That's awesome, man.
Preach your moment over.
I enjoy listening to your podcast, man. I definitely push people that direction. That's why you're on here, right? I wouldn't have you on if I didn't like the way you talk or present yourself. So if you're looking for another podcast, guys, Southeastern Bowhunter Podcast covers a lot of bow hunting, archery, deer hunting, life. It's a good show to listen to, and I appreciate you being a friend, buddy.
Of course, man. You do like me.
If I didn't like you, you wouldn't be sitting across from me.
Yeah, well, I appreciate it, man.
That's cool, man. Well, tell everybody where they can find you on social media and in your show.
All right, yeah. Well, we recently got shadow banned on Facebook, so good luck trying to find us on there, along with the whole archery and hunting industry. But for sure. Yeah, if you want to find us, we're on Instagram at Southeastern Bowhunter. TikTok, I think, is at SEBH, if I'm not mistaken. Facebook, same thing. We're on the Sportsman's Empire now, so if you want to listen to my show, you can do that on there. If you want to listen to like 30 other shows that talk about this stuff, they're on there. God, I'm trying to think of who else. We're going to be building a website soon. And then we'll be at TAC, and for those who want to travel, we're going to have a bow shoot, the 4th annual bow shoot, where we do a lot of giveaways from all the partners that work with the podcast sometime this summer. I don't know when yet, but it's in Georgia. So if someone wants to make a road trip, by all means, there is hotels about 20 minutes away, so it's not far. And yeah, dude, I mean, just, anyone that wants to come on the podcast or talk or whatever, just reach out. I'm an open book, and I'm very easy to get in contact with.
That's awesome. Well, I appreciate you coming on, man. Thank you for everybody in podcast land for listening this week. Thank you if you're still on the YouTube. We'll be back here again next week for episode 144 with my buddy Kurt Bach from Texas.
All right.
See you guys next week.